Hello, and welcome to Survival of the Thickest, testing the process of natural selection by proving that allopatric speciation doesn't only happen in Ireland. Today we are in Manchester. Okay, I was hoping
Oh, look,
for
there's a cat outside.
Oh, is that more interesting than...
Oh,
I've lost a cat. Did you not...
Just...
No? Okay.
That's how funny it was.
Oh.
I was distracted
does
by
it make
a small
sense?
mammal.
I guess come on, you got where I was going with it.
Allopatric speciation. If I remembered what that was, that could be
I mean, you don't even have to
really
know what it
funny.
was. It's just, okay, well...
Oh,
You got it?
oh, for God's sake.
Allopatric Island. Top of them. I'll stop there. Yeah, so as said, we are in Manchester today. I travelled on the train. Thought we'd spice up location. We are currently in Cameron's room. It's a bit bigger and more echoey than mine is, so hey, who knows how it will sound.
Just wait till the comments are rammed full of...
We've only got one comment, and that was Dad. Bless him.
I saw that. He gave his opinion on GM, and I was
which was
like,
good to see.
yeah, fine. I'll accept your argument.
It's the only comment we've got to accept. So Cam, how you doing? How's your dissertation going?
Oh man,
As we talked about last week or last time.
I've been saying to like the people on my course and that, and my personal advisors, I'm just so sick of GM.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to write those two letters next to each other for a good.
Did you
like,
open up?
3
Did you
months.
open it up with this is an essay about genetically modified open bracket GM close bracket?
And then it's just
Repeat GM,
GM,
over
GM.
and over and over.
If you Control F my Word document, yeah,
Just search GM.
yeah,
Wonderful.
it's going quite well. I should have it finished by next week. However, it's exciting, but it's just a slog.
Well, I don't have to do one until my third year, so I've got less time to worry about this.
You don't have to do anything for a couple of months, do you?
No, barely doing a degree, just crawling my way through.
Well, come on, it's keel, but it's not that bad.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, we've got some articles and stuff that Cam's brought along. We're going to give our opinions on those, and I've got an interesting activity for us to do today. I am borrowing it with permission from one of my lecturers, and I just thought it was too good not to hear Cameron's kind of opinion and debate on. So, Cameron, would you like to play a game I like to call Cladistics with Biscuits? Da-da-da-da!
Alright.
Okay,
I'll
so...
bite.
Oh, you'll bite, will you? The biscuits.
Hey!
So, I have in front of me... Oh, I've terribly knocked the microphone. There we go. I have in front of me 1, 2,
This is how
3, 4,
budget we
5,
are.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different varieties of biscuits. Okay, we've got a digestive that's kind of broken in half. We've got bourbons, we've got custard creams, we've got Jammie Dodgers, Jaffa Cakes, a lot. Okay, so for this activity, what we're going to do is have a good debate here. Can we track the evolutionary past of the biscuit?
Right, okay.
Now, I've already had a go at this, and I've got my opinions of how the biscuit evolved. So we've got a nice selection, and I just thought if you want to give your opinion on how you think this is going to work.
Okay, so what I'm seeing instantly... Actually, one thing I'm going to do immediately, alright? Sorry, you said there are 10 kinds
I think
of biscuit.
I don't know how many there are. Just go on.
Alright. All but one of those is a true biscuit. So I am going to say...
Ooh.
I'm going to say that marks one of the most sort of basic step-offs, if you will, diversions of biscuit kind.
Yeah.
And that is the Jaffa Cake.
Oh.
Right, I'm going to compare that
Sorry, just sidetrack. We're saying the Jaffa Cake is not a biscuit. You're saying it's a cake.
Well, no, I'm gonna compare it to the maybe eukaryotic and prokaryotic argument. I'm gonna say that, you know, we've got the prokaryote Jaffa Cake. And that's gonna go.
Oh, okay. You don't have to eat them each time, by the way. We may want to come. Okay, you've just
It's
eaten
too
it.
late.
You've just eaten
too
it.
late.
Right. Okay. Well, what I was going to suggest was did we want to have a look at what we believe to be the origin of life in terms of biscuits? Which biscuit is the common ancestor to all biscuits? Now, I'm not talking about actual history. I don't know which biscuit came first. But I certainly have my opinion, judging on what we've got on the plate in front of us.
Oh, definitely. There's one that is the most... Or is it the most basic? I don't know.
Well, let's ask. So what do you think?
All right.
Cameron, which one do you think is the common ancestor of all biscuits?
There is a sort of grainy, oaty one in the middle of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing else to it. That's yeah.
We have one savoury oaty biscuit on that plate. The rest of them are all sweet. Personally, that's how I would do it. I believe the digestive is the origin of species for
All right.
for all the plates, all the biscuits on that plate even.
Explain.
Because if I was to imagine it branching off, okay, everyone on that plate except the oaty one that you suggested is a sweet biscuit. So I believe very, very early on in this evolutionary past, the oaty biscuit split off the digestive, and all the sweet biscuits go down another track, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. However, right, that's not... So, the digestive isn't at the bottom of that, or at the bottom of that branch. That is two ends of the same thing.
This is what we're either going to do it in terms of let's put each biscuit not only or put it on a tree in the sense of they lead on to other biscuits, or do we go for a cladogram approach, which is where we have all of all of the biscuits on the top, and then we can track how they evolved in each different way.
Okay.
So, to me, personally,
you've still got the Jaffa Cake as... Sorry, no, not the Jaffa Cake. The oaty biscuit as... The oaty savoury biscuit as that first...
Yeah, because I believe that is more distantly related to all of the other biscuits on the plate than anything else.
Yeah.
So then I would say, what is the sweet version of the oaty biscuit? Well, that would be the rich tea. Very similar in morphological design.
But it's not got oats in it.
No, but I'm saying, if you were to mix an oaty biscuit and a rich tea, you get a digestive, essentially. So I'm saying, if the oaty biscuit stems off first, then the rich tea must be on the other side of the branch.
Right.
If you get me. So now, if we continue to look at the morphological design...
I disagree. I would say that the oats is more fundamental.
Oh.
And therefore can't diverge straight away. That wouldn't be the first thing to diverge. That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't lose the oats straight away and then
re-evolve the biscuits. There's no other oats
the
in
oats.
There's no other oats in there. You've just got...
Yeah, that's why. That's why I'm saying, right, so you start with the oaty biscuit. You then go to the digestive, which is the oaty sweet.
Yeah.
And then you move on to a sweet no oats.
Which would be the rich tea.
Yeah. So...
Fair enough.
We could argue that it's oaty savoury, oaty sweet, no oat sweet.
Okay, so where do we move on from no oat sweet then? What do you think?
Right, from the rich tea...
I mean, if we were to try and classify some of these, if we were doing some cladistics, we'd look at the morphology of them.
All right.
Obviously, there's no genetic breakdown of each biscuit, so we can't do it like that. We'll look at them on the old-fashioned way of what do they look like.
Okay, well, immediately, huge distinction, layers, all right? We've got bourbons, we've got
custard
creams. We've got an Oreo there.
And the pink wafer,
which has got multiple layers.
And a Jammie Dodger.
Right.
So, I mean, for me... you have also got this
and a Jammie Dodger.
And a Jammie Dodger. We've got this rather broken... oh my god, what's it called? The milky one. Malted milk, that's it. So you can't forget about that. So, personally, I would think... And then you've got the chocolate. You've got the chocolate family as well. You've got to bear that in mind. I think, to me, chocolate probably came at the end of the evolutionary pastime. I feel like that was at the end. So,
yeah, but where does the Jammie Dodger fit in that category?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a curveball. Unless, of course,
Now,
we have
there is, like, what's interesting is we have a layered with cream family, we have a layered with jam diversion, and we have a multiple layers diversion.
yeah.
Now
Although,
that is,
because everything except the Jammie Dodger has cream in the middle of it, or has as a layer cream. That's what I'm getting at.
except the pink wafer as well.
No, I think it's kind of
You
a cream.
think there's cream in it?
Well, not cream in the same way
Alright.
as a
Well,
custard
look,
cream, but
we're gonna have to conduct an anatomical study of the pink wafer.
go on then, conduct an anatomical study of the pink wafer. Oh, that's a very satisfying crunch. Can you not get the slight hint of cream in there?
Okay, I'm gonna concede. There's
Thank
definitely cream there.
Thank
There's
you.
a thin layer of cream. Oh,
You just dropped it. Don't worry, it's landed on my bag. Yeah. Okay, so personally, I feel like to make sure we're staying true to our tree here, the next big evolutionary event was the double layer, or even more so.
sorry. After the malted milk.
So I imagine we've got the rich tea leads on to the family of sweet biscuits without oats in. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Then something big happens, and suddenly the double layers start to increase in number. The number of species increase. So the malted milk splits off
Because that's just another sweet biscuit. Yeah.
just another sweet biscuit, and then suddenly the double layers arrive.
One thing we've actually neglected so far is the cookie.
Very true.
Yeah.
I've
do
actually
we
got-
say
I-
that's do we say that's also splits off, but it's not a layer diversion. It's sort of a
Well, this chocolate chip cookie is certainly the curveball in the group. It makes you think. I've got my own personal opinion. I believe that the malted milk splits off, and the rest of the double layered or triple layered or whatever biscuits go their own separate path. I then believe, through my years of research, that
To be fair, I have just shown how thorough an anatomical study of a biscuit can be.
yeah. And actually, to be fair, I have
Like,
in
I'm
that
actually
case I have
ingesting
been
it.
anatomically studying biscuits for a long time, so this is clearly my forte. I believe that next up came the custard cream. Okay, so
Yes,
the
I
reason why
agree.
I believe the custard cream is because although it is essentially very similar in biscuit morphology to a malted milk, it's rectangular
Yes.
and it's
yes.
got a similar biscuity structure.
All right.
There are two layers, so it has clearly changed path, and there is a layer of cream in there. But I don't think that the others are closely related to the malted milk. I feel like the custard cream is the next closely related. Then, I think what happened was the malted milk then split into the two families. I feel like we had the chocolate family.
You mean custard cream there?
Sorry, I meant the
custard
cream. Yeah.
split into two families.
We've got the chocolate, which is the Oreo and the bourbon, and then the red side.
Oh, you know what's really interesting about that, right? Is that it kind of falls on his head because I don't know the name of the biscuit, but I'm sure biscuit connoisseurs out there, because we've got a Jammie Dodger, and that's what you're about to say.
Yeah.
Is that the custard cream has then evolved into a Jammie Dodger? But you've got
I know what you're talking about.
You've got those
The
biscuits
smiley faces ones.
that have
The
cream and jam.
Oh, this is mind blowing.
All right, okay.
You know what that is?
We
That's
found
like
the
the fossil.
evolutionary link. We found the Archaeopteryx. We found.
Well done. So there we go. That's the missing piece of this puzzle. So that leaves that. We've got the chocolatey double layers. We've got the jam and creamy double layer of the wafer and the Jammie Dodger. Now, the chocolate cookie.
Right.
Converging evolution. I feel like the chocolate cookie and the double chocolate Oreo aren't related, but somehow they have both evolved
They've just
to have a similar morphology of having chocolate.
It's like bats' wings and birds' wings.
Precisely. So, There you go.
Have we done the pink wafer? Have we addressed that?
I believe the pink wafer is related closely to the custard cream. I feel like the Jammie Dodger is probably related more so to the custard cream than the pink wafer. But
can I suggest that the pink wafer has obviously evolved in an extreme enough environment that it's, because obviously there's some sort of pressure for adding layers, but most biscuits don't receive that pressure enough to merit more than 2 layers, which is why we see the 2 layers.
Yeah.
So the pink wafer,
the selective pressure on the
is
pink
obviously
wafer must have
whatever
been very
that selective
great
pressure is. It must have been very, very strong
in order to make. I mean, I've just pulled it in half, but like 3, maybe even 4 layers.
3 or 4 layers, and that is well and truly survival of the thickest biscuit.
I don't believe how well that went. I feel that was a great activity. But on a
perfectly edited joke here about how cracking that bit was. Because
you know what? That activity really took the biscuit.
I mean, I know I was trying, but that was worse than my attempt.
Hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Okay.
Oh my god!
I got to laugh. Yes.
I wasn't expecting that one.
So we have just wasted 10, 15 minutes of your life talking about biscuits and their evolutionary past. But hey, did you enjoy it?
It was interesting, to say the least.
Interesting.
And delicious, need I say.
We're going to probably munch through these once we're finished, so...
And we haven't spoke about it much. I completely disregarded the Jaffa Cake, but it is actually a very complex piece of life there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely diverged into a different cake branch, I must say, because it is a Jaffa Cake, and it has got cake elements, but the Jaffa Cake in itself is just one example of a very complicated organism.
Well,
like I've made the prokaryotic, eukaryotic argument, but if we say that all of the biscuits were mammals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've got various different forms of that mammal biscuit, and if I say that the Jaffa Cake, the cake branch, is actually a plant.
Ooh.
Now the Jaffa Cake, it's not your basic, first emerging terrestrial land plant. That's like a full-on daffodil. That is an angiosperm right there. That is developed. That is an intricate, delicious, orangey piece of goodness.
Yeah. Fair. No. My argument with the Jaffa Cake was, I feel like the Jaffa Cake is almost like the bird in terms of, I don't know how much you know, but birds should be classified as reptiles.
Well, they are reptiles.
Well, again, like is the Jaffa Cake a cake or a biscuit argument, again, should birds be reptiles, or should you call them birds? Now, okay, there probably is an answer, but for the sake of debate, I feel like the two are strongly related in terms of the topic, and thus I just think that's an interesting point to make. Unless you want to say it's a plant, and then you could say that the Jaffa Cake could perhaps be the bridge between plant life and animal life. Perhaps it's like coral, maybe. It's kind of very similar, looks like a plant.
No, but you see, that's what I'm saying.
But it is an animal.
Is that
you see, if you're saying biscuits are animals... Oh, who was that?
It's me.
Oh, Cam's got a message.
Don't worry about it, though. It's not a problem. Not relevant at all, is it?
No.
No, but what I'm saying is that the Jaffa Cake is too complex an organism to be considered, basic. It's got so many different goings on, and that's not even appreciating the fact that is jelly. That is complicated stuff.
Like a jellyfish? Could be. Well, anyway, all I can recommend for anyone who has their own opinions, please go out, buy yourself 11 varieties or 10 varieties, can't even say it, of biscuit, and decide for yourself.
Well, moving on from biscuits, but staying firmly within the nice food field.
Yeah.
The title of this article: Why gluten-free might not be so good for you after all.
Oh, controversial.
Now this is the article before we started recording that I said you're going to enjoy this.
I am probably going to enjoy this. I mean, obviously, if you're intolerant, then fair enough. But just some people are just like.
Yeah, I'll spoil it for you. At the very end of the article, it explicitly says, the 1% of you that are celiac, crack on. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't eat gluten.
That's the way
Shame.
it is.
Enjoy your horrible brownies.
Yeah.
As for the rest of us, there is some scientific evidence that people that cut gluten out of their diet increase the risk of developing diabetes.
Wow. That did. I mean, out of all the things you were going to throw at me, diabetes is not the one I was expecting.
Well, now look. Obviously, at the bottom of the page, as every good science journal or article should do, is basically say, but don't take our word for it completely.
Yeah.
Here's another scientist that says, don't worry, like that's probably okay.
Bacon gives you cancer, but it might not, kind of thing.
It's a health story. The news loves it.
Yeah.
Forgive me while I just try and find exactly what it's saying. Okay, so it's asking a dietitian, so should we just pile on the gluten then?
Mm.
And they're like, well, of course not, because, the results of the study can be, one way or the other. Sometimes it's not as reliable, because you can just say, it gives you diabetes, when it's probably not as clear-cut as that.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no idea whether in that particular study there was something else about the food that was giving it some sort of protective nature into diabetes, if you see what I mean.
Well, is this just like that classic case of what you're taught from day one, which is have everything in moderation business?
Well, I mean, it's not explicitly stated, but that, I take that as an implication for any health story in food that because the simple fact of the matter is, it's been safety checked. Like, everything has.
Well, it's like, I feel like the human race as a species would have devolved long ago if eating gluten was not a good idea.
It's the most ludicrous diet. It's like this popular sort of celebrity fad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, gluten's the worst thing you can eat.
I mean, as someone that organises stuff for people,
we've been living off like bread and milk essentially for years, or at least
the
in the
Holy
UK.
Grail.
That's our staple foods.
Bread and milk. Yeah.
All of a sudden, turning on this is.
If
ludicrous.
anything, it's just treachery, isn't it? Just bread and milk being the staple of Britain, and then just like, passing on the milk. Probably vegan as well. Pass on the milk. What? Pass on the bread. Pass on the milk. That's what I meant. Anyway. Okay, well that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I'm gonna take no. I'm not gonna take a notice of it anyway, even if it said it does give me diabetes.
This article basically says, well, let's hold fire on whether or not cutting it out of the diet gives you diabetes. That may or may not be true. Probably isn't true. Potentially true in very large quantities, but very telling at the bottom is there are no claims that eating gluten has a negative impact on the majority of the population.
So that article just kind of wasted everyone's time, doesn't it? Just fill it up the website.
No, what do you mean? It's so important that people know.
Yeah, but people aren't going to listen anyway, are they? For every article that says it doesn't give you diabetes, they'll find one that says it does, and then cut out gluten, and then we're back to square one again, aren't we?
Well, again, I return to the thing that I like about this article is that it's almost like behind the curtain of science, which is a lot of people would like to think that science is something that just produces truth and produces knowledge.
Yeah.
Whereas in actuality, it's producing debate. It's producing maybes. It's producing this sort of
theories.
Yeah, exactly. That we can only get closer and closer to, but we're never going to hit the nail on the head with this one.
No. Also, any other stories in the news this week? Anything that you think might be interesting?
I do enjoy this one actually. This is a big old slice of fake news.
Oh, I love fake news.
Everyone loves fake news.
Donald
Talk
Trump
of
loves
the
fake
town.
news.
Yeah.
Everyone likes fake news.
Okay. This is from The Guardian. Now, whatever your impression is of The Guardian, maybe they've got some good scientists, good science editors.
Well, I imagine it's probably not the worst, but hey, let's see what you...
Woolly mammoth on the verge of resurrection.
What?
Scientists say.
Blimey. You learn something new every day. Go on then.
Spoiler
Why am I going
alert.
to see woolly mammoths? Oh,
They're not.
Oh, okay.
They're just not.
Damn.
Okay, so here's what we know about mammoths. Now, this is mainly a genetics-based...
Oh, that's handy. We talked about genetics earlier.
Right.
Kind of.
This is mainly a genetics-based article. Right, I mean genetics. For the public, genetics.
Yeah.
What we know about mammoths is we have, I believe, an entire knowledge of their DNA. We know it back to front in the correct order, just from old samples and stuff and computational studies. We've got that.
Yeah.
What we don't have, which is the thorn in the side of anyone that wants to revive a mammoth, is we don't have any chromosomal information.
Uh-huh.
So we don't know how the DNA is segregated into its chromosomes. I'm pretty sure we don't even know exactly how many there are.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which makes the next part of this article even more ridiculous. Is the so-called like scientists' claims, and I'm doing that inverted air quotes.
Yep.
Is they're going to hybridize mammoth DNA with elephant DNA and make a mammothant.
A mammothant.
Yeah, a mammothant.
Right, keep going. Sell it to me.
I return to the fact that we don't know if they are at all, sort of.
Obviously they're related, but it's how a species would exist. Like, I mean, obviously, okay, we know that's not going to happen.
You don't know that they have chromosomal compatibility at all.
That's true.
You just don't know that the.
We don't know how far
cells
back the
will
lineage
hybridize.
goes, I imagine. And I mean, obviously they're related, but how related are they? Are they related enough? Obviously, if you're looking at crossbreeding animals, you've got, your ligers and whatever. Obviously, the tiger and the lion are related closely enough for them to be able to breed, but obviously produce infertile
Yeah, but you
offspring,
see,
etc.
one has gone extinct a
And
very long
the
time
problem
ago.
is here, one of them has gone extinct, so we'd be doing it. But okay, so obviously that is fake news, and that's probably not
Hang on,
probably.
there's one more. There's one more.
Oh, sorry, go on.
They plan to grow, for want of a better word, grow the mammothant on an artificial womb. That also doesn't exist. We don't have an artificial womb. We can't grow a mammothant, or an elephant, or a mammoth,
or anything,
or a human on an artificial womb. We don't even know the gestation period of.
When would you know it's ready? It's like when you get the instructions for food and there's no oven time on the back. You keep checking everything. Oh, no, not yet. Oh, no. Oh, no, okay, still going. Eventually, it does go, it's burnt. I've cindered it. I've got this destroyed mammothant, or whatever you called it. Oh, well...
Now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of sounds like a Pokemon, doesn't it?
It sounds like something... I don't know. It does sound like there should be a name for it. Like... But okay,
Anyway.
so obviously that would never happen. But if we had the capacity to do it,
I was hoping you'd do this because that's as much information I have. So if you're
would we do it?
Right,
would you grow a mammoth?
Oh, I can rep my lecturer. Basically, in this article, right, we have a great guy at our university, Matthew Cobb.
Shout out.
A shout out. Yeah. Hey, I'm not ashamed. He does a lot of first year lectures, and like that's the point because he's really engaging. Like he really gets people on board, and he does a lot of genetic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He writes a lot of books at sort of a trade level, so anyone can pick it up. But yeah, in the article, he's just like, I mean, apart from the mammoth task. He didn't say that. He didn't
Oh.
say that.
Oh,
But
cool.
he can say that next time,
Yeah.
as long as he references me. I think he's just sort of trying to find a nice way to say this isn't going to happen. But he does for the sake of the article, he does entertain them slightly in that he's going, well, obviously there are ethical implications if this was ever possible. Like, would you want to bring a mammothant into an elephant community? Would it get accepted? Like, where does that stand ecologically speaking? Like, it's
Yeah. Well, it's just a
I mean,
a debate.
and like from the little bit of the article I read, I think he's trying to find a very nice way of saying they've obviously just got an expert in the field in, and he's seen through this story straight away.
Mhm.
But you know, he's a nice bloke. He'll entertain them for a bit.
Well, I feel like we should look at some more fake news articles when they appear, give them a good, thorough rinsing.
Well, that was
and
another
see-
thing, because obviously with my GM dissertation and stuff, I come across a lot of articles which are blown out of proportion by the media and
Uh-huh.
that sort of thing. This is just another example of that. And there's an interesting sort of suggestion that someone made that, you know, science only works a system, you know, when we can peer review, where we put it through the system.
Yeah.
We send it to a journal first before we go anywhere else. As soon as a claim like this hits the news, and it can sort of capture the people's imagination, and it's fairly easy to explain as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because people have a vague idea of DNA as a concept. They know elephants, they know mammoths.
Yeah. Well, Jurassic Park, probably. That's where that kind of comes from.
Jurassic Park.
Well, no, but the
Of
whole
all
idea.
the examples, that's Jurassic.
No,
Come on.
I know.
Call yourself a biologist.
No, but I'm getting at you were talking about people's perceptions of DNA and people's perceptions of science. Like, Jurassic Park helped to bring this idea of how you could make an entire animal,
Okay,
say
yeah,
a mammothant, from a however million-old piece of...
I thought you were talking specifically of mammoths, and I was
No,
like, "Come
no,
on,
no,
try
no, no,
harder."
no.
All right,
Sorry.
thank God. Well,
I'll get my-
now I'll back off. I'll back off. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Interestingly wrong. So,
Inter-
there we go. Right, well, I think that's probably enough for today. We've gone over half an hour. We don't want to keep anyone too long.
enough.
So I think the next time we'll be on, I think will your dissertation be kind of handed in by then?
It will be handed in by then, and I will
Damn.
be.
Really happy
I was gonna-
and relieved, and you've done a good
What's
job.
What's a not rude way of saying that, except about times like 1,000? Because like this is really giving me grief, and I want it to be done.
Fair. So, that will be the end of the show. Thank you very much for listening. If you're a new subscriber, or if you're a new listener, you can become a new subscriber. Click the subscribe button. Drop us a like as well. We always appreciate a like. And Dad, if you want to write another comment, we'll be waiting for it.
We might even reply.
We might
if
reply.
We can be bothered.
So these podcasts do come out spontaneously, so you never know.
Probably just click that little notification
Yeah,
button.
that would
at
be
the
good.
bottom of
The little notification
at
thing.
the bottom of the YouTube.
You'll see that in 2 weeks' time. So yes, thank you very much for listening to Survival of the Thickest.